Good afternoon, YouTube. My name is Brandon, and today I'm going to try to rebuild some forks on the Suzuki rebuild that we're doing. Stick around. So this is what we're working on today, guys. Look at those fork seals. They are wrecked. They're leaking fluid all over the place. But as I was taking these apart, I want to show you something that I found. I'm glad that I took the time to do this, and I would encourage anyone that's looking to buy a used motorcycle, go through it. I'm going to start you out at the bottom. I'm going to work our way up. Uh-oh, look at that. It's missing a bolt. Can you imagine if we took this for a ride? In this one, I'm not exaggerating, finger tight. These had backed right off. So what I did is I went online and found out what size bolt it was and picked up a new one. Well, it's actually not a new one. It's a used bolt. You can go online, type in what you want, and you can buy like buckets of bolts and stuff like that for things like this, which work great. But I don't have a lot of metric stuff, but I guess I'm going to be working on it and getting that stuff. But let me bring in, we're going to get these forks off, and I want to show you a little tip before we get started. So maybe some of you guys do this, maybe you don't, but I go through gloves pretty quickly, and I like to wear like a thin glove. These aren't anything special. They're just kind of like a mechanic's glove knockoff. But what I'll do is I buy my rubber gloves one size bigger for doing exactly what I'm going to do now. So I got my glove on. Buy your rubber glove one size bigger. Shove your paw in there. Now your hand is nice and cozy. You got a nice comfortable glove underneath, but your hand is protected from oil and grease, and it also protects your gloves, so you're not replacing them so often. You know, if you got to go to the bathroom or answer the phone or do something like that, normally you'd pull your rubber glove off your hand. This way, you just take it off. And now you can put your hand right back in your glove, and you're back in business again. Just wanted to share that with you, just a little tip. And let's get going. Let's get these forks off. So it looks like the only one that I'm not going to be able to get a socket on is the pinch bolt on the right side over by the master cylinder. But I'll just start that with a wrench. There, broke it loose. I haven't used an impact very much on this bike, simply because I'm concerned about snapping off bolts. This bike has been sitting for a while. I know you probably can't see that great, guys. The lighting in here is horrible, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take out this stuff. It's not really a disassemble video or anything. It's not even a how-to video, so I'm just going to get the parts apart. We'll get them in the workshop, then we'll start opening them up. There. Okay. There. Alright, we got the right side fork out. So I was going to mark them, but look at that. There's an R right there, and I checked the other one, there's an L on it. So right and left, they're all designated. We don't have to worry about it. And this little plastic piece right here, I guess it's like a guard or a protector. It wasn't on the other fork. Look at that fork seal. Look how bad that is. And this is the good one. But anyways, that plastic piece wasn't on the other fork. I ordered one for that also. I'm going to have to use a wrench on this one too to get it loosened. Wow. Yeah, this one's tight. I'll tell you, it's brutal when you have a bike that has been sitting this long. If you guys watched the last video, you'll know that the tires on this were dated the third week of 2009. So, and we're currently in 2019 right now. So that's a long time to be on tires. And those Metzeler tires, from what I understand, they don't last that long. I mean, as far as like tread. So, you know, so the guy I bought it from bought the bike in 09, and he has been riding on those tires since 2009. So this bike hasn't got a lot of use. And whenever you park a bike or you don't use it very often, That's hard on it. So you're almost better off, you know, having a bike that's been driven versus a bike that's been sitting. Yeah, granted, it's only got 11,000, just a little over 11,000 miles on it. It's like 11,100 miles. But, you know, his bike is sat most of his life. Now we just got to slide out the fork tubes. Let's try a little twisting action is what worked on the last one. That's not working so hot. Let me give it a little persuasion with a piece of plastic. This one's being stubborn. I've got a little block of wood. I'm not going to hit it on the adjuster, obviously, but I'm going to hit it right next to it. All right, I loosened the clip-on right here, so hopefully this does it. What the hell's holding this thing in? This is getting borderline ridiculous. Alright, so I've determined that it's this handlebar clip-on that's causing all the problems. See that? So here, the fork tube, that's able to slide up and down in the upper and lower part of the steering thing, but it's hitched into this for some reason, and there's no pinch bolts that hold this on. So it's obviously just corroded. So we'll have to spray it and hope for the best, I guess. I don't know. Here we go. Yep, it's moving now. Holy, thing's stubborn. Oh yeah, now it's fetching up again. Yep, she's fetching up again. Well, it's moving, but it's going slow. I'm going to have to grab a socket and put it over the top of this like a bushing. Here we go. Finally. There. We did it. Alright, let's start rebuilding these forks. Now, one of the first things that we got to do is, you see that right down in there? That is a 6mm recessed Allen, and from what I understand, that can be a bear getting that out of there. So, what I'm going to do is, I got a 6mm impact Allen, and I'm going to put a hand impact driver on it to see if we can bust it free. One thing we do not want to happen is we don't want this snapping off inside the fork. Can you imagine trying to get that out? I can't. This is what scares me. There we go. Came out. Phew. Alright guys, change of plans, bad news. So as you can see, I'm all set up and I've been disassembling the forks, and I got the new bushings and seal kit, and look at this. I don't even have to zoom in. Look how bad that is. Yeah, these forks got a massive nick in it. So, and there's actually another one right there. So, yep, we're gonna scrap this project. But on the side note, look how clean this is. So, should I ever need that, nice and clean. I've located a set of forks on eBay. They're out in Oregon, completely across the country from where I am right now. The motorcycle that it came off from is a 2005 Suzuki, and the mileage is almost exact. It's actually got 75 more miles on it than my bike has. So I bought them as a pair, and we're going to replace the left and the right side forks. They look great. They're all factory, and they've got the original seals and dust seals in them with no leaks, and the chromes look really good. Let me bring in onto these forks. I've looked into it a little bit more. I think somebody was trying to be deceptive on this. Let me show you. So you see these words here? It says T-E-N, that means tension, and I think that's soft and hard. Well, I wondered why the left fork, when I looked at the bike and bought it, that it was like this. The words were up and down, and that was turned. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. It does now. So when you turn this like this, so that's where the damage is on the front fork. You see how that is right there? That lines up with that. But here in Maine, we're required, and I think a lot of other states, to have a vehicle inspection. That right there wouldn't pass inspection, and that's what's causing the seal to leak. So if you were to take this and turn it this way, guess where that bad area is? It's now on the inside. Real hard to notice, real hard to see. So I suppose if you were to get your motorcycle inspected, just before you drove into the inspection place, you wiped the forks all off, wiped up any signs of any leaks, and you drove it into the inspection station, they probably wouldn't see that nick because it would be turned in towards the inside, kind of like towards the steering stem. Be real hard to see. But what you would see is this side, which looks really good, which this is the outside of the bike. So I could be wrong, but it seems to me that somebody was trying to be deceptive. Somebody was trying to hide the fact that that fork had damage. And I don't think it was recently turned because it was so difficult to get it out. It had been in there for a long time. So my guess is that this damage happened a while ago, and somebody, you know, whether they dumped it or crashed it, that damage was there, and they turned it to the inside to conceal the damage. And I guess they didn't care that it was leaking fork fluid everywhere. You know, don't worry about it getting all over the brakes, I guess. Me, it matters, you know, it's got to be safe. I want it right. So this is the one we needed, guys. Happened to be the first one that I opened up. Left side. This one came off 2005, but as you can see, no damage whatsoever. I'll show you the other one. As you can see, I didn't have this little deflector guard here, so I would have had to, you know, I actually did buy that. Just this piece right here is 21 bucks. So yeah, we're in good shape now, and I bought a pair, so I'll probably just either hang on to my old one or I don't know, throw it up on eBay or Craigslist and try to sell it. The next thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna clean these up, and we're gonna go put these forks on the bike. We don't even have to mess with seals anymore, since the original factory seals aren't leaking and the dust seals look really good. No sense of messing with it, and we already have a rebuild kit if we need it. All right, here we go. Time for reassembly. Now what I'm going to do is I will just snug everything up by hand for right now, and then I'll go through with the proper torque specs and just torque everything on this bike, including these forks. Now it's time to put on the tire. Just make sure that the rotation is going the direction of the rim. And we went over that in the last episode. Now we'll put our axle in. Now would be the time to inspect your brake pads before you get them in to see if they're okay, because now would be an easy time to put brake pads on. We'll put a little grease on our axle shaft. Just a thin layer. And we'll put a layer right here where the axle seal is going to ride. Can't forget our spacer. That goes in. Make sure everything spins smooth, and then torque everything to spec. Now we'll put our front brake calipers on. This is why I really like labeling parts bags, because I can't mess it up, you know. After a few days goes by and you got all kinds of stuff on your mind, you don't have to worry that you're going to forget and put a bolt in the wrong place. And these brakes, the pads look good, but there's just a lot of grease and grime on it because those fork seals were leaking on that other set of forks. And I'm just going to put a little dab of Never Seas on it. That way it'll make taking it apart the next time around that much easier. Doesn't take much. And again, we're going to torque everything on this motorcycle. Torque's important. I don't, back in the day, I used to, when I was younger, I just, would always clamp everything right up pretty tight. And because of that, I broke a lot of fasteners. But I figured, let's get it tight. Well, that's not really the way to do it either, because when you tighten things up that tight, you actually stretch out the fastener. And, it's no fun breaking bolts and tapping out holes. The factory created a torque specification for a reason, and I'm kind of a firm believer in that, especially on a motorcycle. There's only you and this bolt, so why not make sure that it's the tension that it needs to be. So again, I'm just going to hand snug up everything for now, and we're going to go through all at once and torque everything on this motorcycle. And we'll do the other side, same as this side. That's all there is to it, guys. If you haven't seen the previous episodes, I'll put a link down below in the description so you can catch up to it. And tune in next week because we are going to get this thing all put back together. It's all painted. I can't wait to show you guys how this looks. So next week, we're going to get it all back together. Hopefully, we can even take it out for a spin. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. If this is something that you like, please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. If you want to know what I'm working on, but before it even makes it up to YouTube, you guys can click the links down below. I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook. Till next week, guys, I'll see you then. Stay safe. Bye.